Today on This Old House.
Welcome to Saratoga Racecourse.
Thank you very much.
It's a great spot for these horses to develop.
And building code? Forget that. Some of this old framing makes no sense.
And without this new wall here, the floors upstairs are a house of cards. Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to This Old House here in Saratoga Springs, New York. Now, our project house, well, it's an 1864 Dutch colonial just down the street from here. Now, Saratoga has always attracted visitors. First, for its spring water, said to have curative properties. And then, a year before our house was built, a new attraction sprung up, and it has been a hit ever since. This is the Saratoga Springs Racecourse. Almost every summer since 1863, they have welcomed race fans.
When you come to Saratoga, you don't come to a replica of a Victorian grandstand. You come to the real thing. This is genuine. It's not Disneyland. It's the original deal. This is the oldest sporting venue in America. The thing about Saratoga is it's a visceral experience. We're standing on the rail. There's going to be a horse right here this afternoon. You can see the expressions in the horse's eyes and the jockey's eyes. You can smell the liniment. You can just get that real up-close experience. The horses walk through the crowd. The jockeys walk through the crowd. And another thing that we have in horse racing that no other sport has, the opponents share the same locker room. All the jockeys go back to the jocks room after the race.
If you're a fan of racing, breakfast at the track is a must. In addition to the beautiful scenery, it also comes with a group tour. And today, I'm going to get one from Glenn. Nice to meet you, Glenn.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. Welcome to Saratoga.
Thank you very much. So this is your operation here, huh?
Yes, it is.
It is a beautiful spot. You must get a ton of people coming down for this breakfast with the horses.
It's a great place to watch a morning workout, see the horses, and see the operation here at Saratoga.
Well, you want to show me what's going on?
Sounds good. We'll take a tour.
All right. So what's the history, Glenn?
Saratoga Racecourse got going in the mid-1800s here, and there's over 150 years of horse racing that's taken place here at Saratoga Racecourse.
Some of these buildings look like they've been here for a long time.
The barns themselves have changed. Some of the storage areas have changed.
The shape of the building, it's just sort of iconic, and I see it everywhere.
And part of that is set up for the way that the buildings were designed in the day to be able to put supplies up above. And you'll see these, like a walking ring, we call that, outside. Some of them are sand, some of them are wood chips. Basically the trainer's preference with what they'd like on that. As I mentioned earlier, with the horses after a race, now they're getting their bath, getting cleaned off from being out on the track exercising.
I have never sat in horse traffic before.
Welcome to Saratoga. Horses always have the right of way.
Yeah, clearly. Is it the jockey or is it the horse?
It's both for sure, and having a jock that has that sense of when to make a move or how to settle a horse is critical, but it also depends on the horse. You have to have the talent. This was a viewing stand that was built for the 150th anniversary of the track. And it's a replica of what the viewing stand was on the main track side. So for the public, they're able to come out and view the training on the Oklahoma course.
So what is the actual surface?
So the surface that we have here,
Oh, it's like sand.
it's sand, silt, and clay. The varying weather conditions up here at Saratoga, the rain is just brutal. And to have the surfaces that drain and that are able to be maintained to be able to either train on or race on are critical for us. And you can just see with the hoof prints that are out here this morning how much activity there is.
What's this operation called?
So this is called harrowing the track. So after we applied the water to get some moisture in it to basically hold the track together, they'll go through and regroom this, and in about 4 minutes, you're gonna see a lot of activity out on the track because everybody wants to get out on a fresh surface.
So this is the original track right here.
This is it. This is what we call Horse Haven track. It's a mile track, no longer used for racing, but it is used as a horse path and a travel access for the barns that are stabled in this barn area called Horse Haven.
So this goes back to 1863. So what, almost 160 years of continuous use?
Continuous use with horses, and that's part of the history and charm of Saratoga.
Wow, that's unbelievable. A lot of history. Hey, Evan, how are you?
Hey, Kevin. Good.
So as you can see here back at the house, demolition is very much underway, and with that come a whole bunch of discoveries, some about the structure and some of them a little bit more interesting. Our general contractor, Matt Whitbeck, said this just fell out of one of the walls as he was tearing it apart. Still in pretty good shape, right? Another discovery, which is interesting to me because I've never seen it before, is check this out. So here's an old newspaper. This one's from 1918, pretty much what you'd expect. But it actually came, we're told, from these. Now these, as you can see, were tucked into the walls here. So they're in these stud bays, they're actually up in the rafter bays. And I've been told it's called a flange, part of the printing process. So it's kind of a thick cardboard, and apparently they pressed into this, and then they turned this into a copper plate, which would be a negative of this, put the ink on it, and then when they were done with it, well, you know, they were frugal, so it is literally in the rafter bays, up in the walls. Who knew? The other big discovery we had was the electrical. Stephen, how are you?
Hey, Kevin.
So what did we find when you started digging around in this place?
We found some armored cabling throughout the house, and it's time for it to go.
Was that expected? I mean, the house is from 1860s. That's a little later than 1860s,
Yeah,
right?
I'd say this would be around the 1930s. So I thought I would have seen knob and tube, which was the first generation of a wiring system, but it looks like they went straight from gas-powered lights to VX cabling.
So we didn't find any knob and tubing in the house, although given the date it was built, we could have if they hadn't skipped over this entire generation.
Correct.
And that armored shielding wire is an improvement over this.
That's right. The knob and tube wiring was a single conductor that was ran on the inside of a stud bay.
So you would have had to install the knobs to hold the wire on the outside, and if you wanted to go through, you had to drill for the tubes.
Correct.
And like you said, twice basically for every circuit.
Very laborious.
Okay,
Correct.
and then this is a lot better.
And then in this house we have BX cable and basically both conductors in one jacket with a protection, a mechanical protection on the outside, and you can pull this right through the structure to wherever you need it to go.
And we're going to make a further improvement over the BX with what we're putting in now.
Correct. What we're putting in now is an M cable, non-metallic cable.
So it's got sort of a rubber plasticky sheathing now,
Correct.
not metal. And
Correct. It's so much easier to work with, and you will see it has the two conductors plus the ground, and it's clearly identified in yellow, indicating that this is for 20 amps.
And so all of the armored shield comes out.
Yep.
All of the NM goes in. How long will it take for you to get all of this out and give us temporary power?
We should get a majority of it done by today. With everything being nice and open, the guys made it really easy for us.
So Matt, you really made a lot of headway with all this demo work here.
Yes, sir. It's been a lot of work. Evan and Whitney, the homeowners, have put a lot of sweat equity in, coming in nights and weekends and helping get lath and plaster down and buckets of material out of here. So we're in the exploration stage, getting all this exposed to see what we're working with, and now we're ready to start coming up with a good game plan.
So we can see the old bones too. So I think we've got two rooms originally. We have a room here, and we've got another room here. And I think upstairs, when we go up there, we'll see there was probably two rooms up there also with a short knee wall. So I look here and you can see this is balloon framing with rough sawn 2x, 12 inches on center. And the sign right here with this ledger is let into the side of the 2x, and the joists are set on the ledger and nailed to the joist. That's typical balloon framing right there.
It is, and I would think that in this time period, at the 1860s, this would be kind of modern for its time period, so a little bit advanced, not as common probably to find, where we see in this era a lot more timber framing, where it's going to be a lot of mortise and tenon joinery, and they would build out that whole structure to be able to set up the outside frame, brace everything in, and then add some studs here and there around for the windows and any nailers that they might need.
Yeah, the big heavy beams were doing the work, as these little ledges were basically sisted along the side of here. So they're sharing the load, where the beams were doing all the hard work.
Sure, and this is a little bit easier, which is part of the evolution of it. You know, the framing aspect of this, they needed smaller timbers. You know, you could put a lot of the pieces up by yourself.
Right.
And then this sort of segued into the platform frame, which is what we use primarily today, which will be the addition, will be more of a platform style of framing.
Exactly, yeah. Platform framing makes it nice because each level was framed, the walls are stood up, framed and stood up. But if we follow this balloon frame from this side, we go all the way across, and usually it's one continuous joist, but for some reason they stopped it right here. It looks like there might be a sign of a wall that was right here, but they did take the joist and they put one along the side of the other and nail them together, so that locks them in. But if you can see, it comes over, rests on a ledger right here, and down onto this wall. Now, I believe that this was an exterior wall also because of this blocking that you see right here. This is also called nogging. The reason they did this, lots of times they didn't sheathe the outside walls. They just put the siding right on it. And that wall became very drafty. To stop the drafts, they just filled it with brick and tried to make it as tight as they could.
Yeah, we see evidence where that kind of changed over in the other part of the house, and we saw newspaper being stuffed in those exterior walls rather than the brick. And I guess that's great testimony to that Yankee style of building, where people would just use whatever was abundant and available to them. Seemed like a lot more people were qualified masons back then to put all these things together.
Exactly, and made great fire stopping too.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look upstairs. All right, so there's a lot going on up here. If I look right here, this is about where we were standing down below with the bricks in the wall and the balloon framing. That's wide open. So that's not good because fire can rush right up there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, with this particular house, they did a lot of brick infill, which helps that out. But it kind of cuts us off from being able to put good insulation or chase a wire through.
Right.
And as we see with the evolution of things, wires have changed over time, the plumbing pipes have changed over time, and we want to
Fire
make
stopping is
updates.
key, yeah.
Yeah, we can't get through there and simultaneously fire stop.
Right. Now, originally, also, I think that this house, if you look right here, the way this is cut off here and here. So, all right, so that's like 16, 18, 20 inches, all right? So if I take that, I believe that this wall was cut off. So if I add the 16, 18 on that, we have a wall that's about 4 feet tall. And then the roof rested on top of that. So we had bedrooms with low ceilings with angled roofs. You can see signs of the rafters, for example, right here where they reused a rafter. You can see the angle, but it's not a good ceiling joist.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing we see with that Yankee style, to reuse everything that we have. Maybe not the best choice in this particular situation. When we think about, you know, marrying these two pieces together, you're going to see an issue when they start to uncouple and separate, especially when they started to evolve and use that next floor. It wasn't an attic space anymore or a void in the house. It became living space. And that live load and the constant change, furniture weight, all those things will start moving those two pieces apart from each other.
You get squeaky floors and cracking plaster and all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
So the next evolution was what they did is I think they added a complete second story to these two rooms. You can see this outside wall had windows in it over here. This window matched that window. There was another window down here that matched that window. And then they basically had that roof over that. Then they did another evolution where they added the same size, the same look on the other side where Susan lives. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. This became an interior wall. Then they probably add something on the back, but then they changed the roof. The gambrel that runs this way now originally ran this way because the rafter sizes up there were different. So the outside wall here was the outside wall there, which is about 25, 22 feet. the original house, the new house became 33 feet. Well, the old Yankees said, well, we're going to take the rafters that went on the 25-foot, and we're going to use them on the 33-foot length. And when they do that, they lower the pitch of the roof. But it also lowered the ceiling on the 3rd floor. And that's not a smart way to do it. There's all kinds of ways to do it today, but that's not the way. Now, Susan wants to live in the house during the construction. This is a major renovation, and there's always challenges when you're doing a major renovation like this, and also when the homeowner wants to live in the house. We have to keep the utilities going, water, sewer. We have to keep the house dry. And we also have to worry about unknowns. We found a serious unknown in this house, and unfortunately, to keep the house dry once the roof comes off is going to be really challenging, so I think it's better if Susan moves out. Matt and the architect got together and decided and asked Susan if she would mind moving out during construction. So, Evan, we uncovered a lot of issues right here. And I guess Matt and the architect spoke to you. How did Susan take it?
Better than I expected, honestly. But it's a big blow. The idea was to have her here, but she understands that she now needs to move out for 2 to 3 months.
Well, that's too bad that she has to move out, because I know she did want to stay. But in the long run, it's going to be better for everybody. It should move the job a little bit quicker once the demo is taken care of, and she'll be back sooner.
That's what I've been told by Matt. And so really the idea is to keep her safe,
Right.
keep her things safe, and we'll get her back as quickly as possible.
She'll be back before you know it.
Demolition continues as various additions off the back of the house are getting torn away, but we're also starting to do framing for some of the new stuff, Matt. This one's ready to come out?
Ready to come out.
All right, I'll give it, you guys tell me. Oh yeah. You got?
Yep, lean it down nice and easy. Keep coming, send it to the kid. Lester, come around this side. Kid, keep lowering it down. There you go. Off this way to the side.
We got a couple here that gotta...
Use the leverage. Go that way.
There you go.
It is.
All right. So what is the plan for today, Matt? What are we building? And why did this come out here?
Well, with all the demolition happening, we're now ready to remove what was Susan's exterior wall.
Yeah.
And her space is gonna get a little bit smaller. So we're gonna have to bring a new wall in. This will become a partition wall that'll separate Susan's unit from the mudroom entrance that Evan and Whitney are gonna have coming in from the driveway side through their mudroom and into their residence. So we wanna set this up now to make sure that we can separate the outdoors from the indoors. We'll build this partition wall, plywood the interior side of it so we have good nailers for the kitchen cabinetry or anything that'll go on after. And it's just about prepping it to set it up from the elements.
And so if this is just gonna be a partition wall, why not come to the existing wall? Why did you cut away the exterior wall?
Well, we had a window here, so it was gonna be kind of hard to join everything together, and this will have to get amended. Right now, we're gonna leave this window in place. That'll allow Susan to have a little bit of extra ventilation and light in this room, because you can see there's no other window in here right now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave this for now. Join everything up right here at the end. This will allow us to replumb the end of this corner and marry up the rest of this wall. When this window comes out, it'll give us a straight, clean line that we can frame up to.
You guys ready to frame?
We're ready to go.
All right, let's get to it. I'll give you a hand. So that's center of what, Paul?
This is gonna be the center of our hallway coming in. So I'm getting ready, you look right here. So I'm getting ready to do the framing for this doorway to come in, getting a couple partition.
So just a rough opening for the doorway now?
Just a rough opening for the doorway to be installed later.
And then lay out for the studs?
Absolutely, lay out for the studs.
Sheathing it now, Paul, huh?
Yes.
And right over the doorway?
Yep, right over the doorway.
Right over the doorway.
So, Kevin, you see that we got this plywood on now to be able to make our exterior wall for the time being during construction, but this will obviously become an interior wall for the kitchen. So we got a little bit more amending to make to kind of block everything off, make sure that, you know, the weather's not getting inside here, but this is pretty much it. Once we get the drywall, we'll cut the hole in the hallway opening where the door is going to be here, blend the drywall through, and then reseal it with some plastic after the drywall is done, and make sure we're, again, mediating, you know, air particles, things moving around in Susan's area.
Well, it feels good to do a little bit of construction amongst all the demolition. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Matt's getting ready to dig for the new foundation, but he's actually concerned about the old. So what do you got going here, Matt?
So we're getting these temporary wall put in. This is going to help us support the foundation over here. This is referred to as a buttress wall. This is about just being able to re-support this stone
Oh, the
wall.
rubble, yeah.
Yeah, so we got a lot of old mortar, old stacked stone. We want to make sure when we do the demolition, we bring the jackhammer in on the excavator and start taking this apart, that it doesn't unintentionally just fall apart.
So these studs right here, are these under the wall in the kitchen that you built?
Yeah, the wall that we built with Kevin is going to separate and be a permanent wall that'll make the kitchen partition.
Right.
This is going to be a temporary wall. This will get removed, but it'll help shore everything up and make sure that we don't have any deflection or settling when we remove this last piece.
Absolutely good. All right, so you're going to put any angle pieces on this to make this a good buttress?
That's right. So we're going to get a 45-degree angle in here to make sure that we stiffen this up, and then we're done.
All right, I'll give you a hand. All right. How's that? Good?
Great.
All right, you pretty happy with this? I think it looks pretty good. So what do you got for us next time?
Well, we got a little bit more demo to do. We're going to continue with excavation, and then we're going to have concrete and framing.
All right, well, that all sounds good. Hopefully the weather will be with us.
That's the hope.
So until then, I'm Tom Silva
And I'm Matt Whitbeck.
for This Old House. All right, nice and solid here, Matt.
Next time on This Old House.
Saratoga's home to a lot of secret gardens, and I'm going to take a special tour. I mean, the textures are incredible.
We're going to be tightening up this old house. Now's the time to think about radon.
A really simple way that we can deal with that is to get a perforated pipe.
And this property was owned by the man who invented the fire hydrant. I'm going to check out the house that plumbing built.